Well, it's a Friday morning and the sun is shining and my eyelids open and my head is spinning. Was the life of the party, I can't stop to grinning. I had too much tequila last night. Hey people, I did a drunken rage yesterday and everybody seemed to enjoy it. I don't think people could tell the difference of when I'm drinking or not. I don't think I change much. But I did tell you exactly what I was going to do. And so you got to get up and go to work the next morning. So I'm fixing to give y'all the secret 4-letter name of God that don't even the Jews know. Well, the real Jews know it because it's still on our money, but the fake Jews don't know it. But it's the one God that all your religion and government's in fear of. And I know that they're in fear because that's why they changed the name of his setting them holy, O-L-Y, holy. And his kingdoms and everlasting, and all dominions him shall serve and obey. Of the Most High. And that's him right there. And it's spelled O-L-Y-U-N-I-M. Final N is the M, unum. And it means holy, means all together, unum, one. All together one. That's the God they're afraid of. When we all get together. You know, they say this all, O-L, is on or in or any kind of preposition. It's all. To see, O, to see, a L is the bind, you know. To see the bind work. Holy, W-H-O-L-Y is what that means. All of us. Holy comes from all. And all, unum, U-N-I, one, unite into one. Doesn't necessarily mean one. Means all together, holy unum, and they are scared of the holy unum. Unum is indicative form of uner, which means unite in every language. Uner, uni, one, to join, to combine. In pretty much every language, that's what that means. From the Latin uner, union, I unite.
He speaks out of love for his friend. Perhaps that love in his heart is God.
Oh, how convenient. A theory about God that doesn't require looking through a telescope. Get back to work.
And you say, that's not Hebrew, that's Latin, you know. Yeah, but so is los. You know, that's the same. They'll put in the Greek word, the Greek Bible for the people. Los, those people. Los. You know, that would be a Spanish word, los, the people. So the final M is a S. It's pronounced as a S. And where it gets the people, you know, is the same place your word homies come from. And we'll see that up here, too. And so I said I wasn't going to read. I was just going to hit some words that you recognize. And that's what I'm going to do. You know, this, on his bed, then a dream, he wrote down the main facts telling is all shack be baden. All shack, your shack is your bed, where you live, your house. All shack be baden, doing his will. Of the helm, you know, to steer. The shack baden the helm, where one directing the ship. All from the shack baden helm. And then one, you know, O-N-E, one. Deny all whammer, deny all crying. Has these, you know, H-Z-E-Z-E, has these, who it, and then a W-I-T again, who it, wit, bitches, Y, bitches, B-H-Z-W-Y, who it, bitches, who it in bitches, Y, in has to. And so what this chapter is about is here in 3, and it's the war. And the dot and the B gives you 2 B's. It's the war in, and then pronounce the B again, B-O, the Bakyam. The war in Bakyam, reverb them to change the word. The war in Bakyam changed the word. And Bakyam, that means the book of days. You know, it's coming from this old Norse, the Bak, meaning a beech tree or a book, a law book, a code of law. And yom is the days, you know. You have different kind of books. Set it in a book, the book set is to commit to writing, to set to book, set to book. A bookstool is a reading desk. So the war in Bakyam, the Book of Days, reverbing, verb and verb, VRB is the old word for word, and a reverb is to do it again, to change it, reverbum. So in Greek, verb is word is legion, legend. So that's the same place that your word religion comes from. To reverb them, to reword them. Religion means to reword it. And that's what it's doing. It's talking about rewording the Book of Days into religion. And it was known as the Fasti poem, known as the Book of Days. It says they talked about 12 books, but there's only 6 left. And you can catch the original Latin text on Project Gutenberg, or you can catch the audio book here on LibriVox, and are in Book of Days, reverb and rewriting in self in, to put yourself in as the God. If you was writing out a job application, that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to sell yourself. And so in that job application, you're self in, and then the mark says, read this again, sell, sale. The self in sale, and then the Q is reading over here, coming. The self and sale, coming, I am, him, them, commonum, and then 2 M's, the mass, planetary bodies or masses. But it's also a lot of people showing up to a Catholic church on a Sunday morning, the mass, and a self and sale, commonum, mass, and then the mark has you read this, in signed, SNI, which is usually what they'll say is number 2 in signed. And then the dot has you read this D twice, and it's da, and the mark has you read the DA again. In signed data munda. Munda is the world, data munda, Father world, the Holy Unum. And then when you read it back the second time, you leave the B out. The war of high, and an extra N here, so it puts an M on the N, an N and an M. In the high, when more, verbum, self in, minimum, assignum, damned, nada, damned, D-A-M-N-A-D-A, damn not. And this word carry here, K-A-R-Y-E, this is the word you find in the Greek Bible for Lord. Anything spelled close to it, the carry. What to legend carry? Self word carry. And it wasn't, the eagle had watched I until we're plucked off. This is a little moo up here up top. E-U-M, whom it. This is usually who it, but that's just giving it a proper whom. But also the moo is small, who little it, whom it. Who little it, added 'em, more it to. And so it was nothing getting plucked off, but it was adding a little more. added. When you come back and read it the second time, you're reading it backwards first here, and then you're adding a extra R-I-T-U, and it's added, whither, more it, and then W-R, where it to. Nothing getting plucked off, adding to it. And I showed you this word yesterday, and was lifted up, and it's, and W-N, and when, tilt, T-I-L-T, when tilt, and lifted up one corner maybe. And you can see they got a different word for earth here too, usually it's the arch. And now it reads, the A-R-A-O-A. AOA is the angle of attack. There is no pronouncing of an AOA. When tilt, manner, AOA, angle of attack. Its wings and was lifted up from earth, the earth. When tilt, manner, angle of attack. The angle of attack, the angle at which the chord of an aircraft's wing meets with the relative wind. its wings was lifted up from the earth. You know, several of the plants, they have a tilt on them, changes their angle of attack. And this angle of attack in our precession of equinoxes is causing it to add some at this point. You know, this where this point crosses here is moving 1 degree every 72 years. And so they're having to add a little bit. And then this word for second here, you know, it's the only time they'll ever say this word means second, because 2 is always SNI. Like this word here, this is 2. You know, when you sign them up, 2 of them, to sign the 2 of them a marriage, you know. Anytime there's a contract, it's signed, there's 2. But this word here is it, 9, N-I-N-E. And 9 means 9, the number that comes after 8. You know, it's naming the 4 beasts, and the 4 beasts are at the 3, 6, 9, and 12 position. And luster had the come to, QMTU, is usually height. You know, and that's how you ask the kids, how tall are you, you know, what you come to. And luster had the come to, what little, LT, and then back here, L again. What little to, had little shine. And you'll see this law all through here, and it's, you know, L-E-E, meaning past. And it more means the moon. You know, the law is the old Egyptian moon. And a lot of times it'll read Li and have the mark to read La again, Leela. And for the moon to arise, the Li is Fumi, F-U-M-Y, Fumi, to arise. And you see it all throughout here, and they don't give it a word number because they change the meaning so much. They don't want to trap themselves, you know, but they say it means had, or to it, or and which had, or and to him, or him. But down here, when it was talking about the Most High, you know, that was the pronoun given him. And this is where it will read Leela the first time through. And battered in haze, you know, it was a cloudy night. You look at the moon through clouds, it's battered in haze. But these are also words that have to do with heraldry, the battered and haze. And I'll have to take some time and break all these lines down to figure out exactly what all that means, but that's what it's talking about. It all has other meanings. And this word here will change up all through here with different signs. You know, when it's here, it reads they wit, you know, T-H-E-Y, they wit, their intelligence. And a lot of time it reads who it. That's where they're getting this I from. But it reads a couple other ways with different markings. And this waro, that means, you know, to watch, observe. And this is in all your Aryan languages, German, English, Dutch. And there was another like a leopard. You know, to come in like a leopard is to come in devour, to watch a hurricane. And then from rule, R-U-L-E, and which had, you know, in a hurricane from rule. And this word, this bird, this isn't bird, this is hoopoe. You know, you see it O-U-P, and then the O again, the hoopoe. And he's often in Egyptian art, and he's in the tree, and he's the one bird that looks the other way. And he was known as a shit eater. They would find him eating shit. And so you might read that, you know, R in the body, and then O-V of poo, P-O, the body of poo. And raisum of hue, H-I-W, you know, a hue, a color to sultan. You know, sultan is a king or a sovereign. You know, hue meaning shape, form, appearance, complexion, the skin or the hide, what it's showing on the outside. You know, the sultan has dominion. So everything being ranked according to its color. You know, that's the first thing they did on the first day, was divided the light. So if you go to paint store and order some salt and paint, you're probably going to end up with a color closer to the purple end of the scale. You know, the color of the kings. And the visions in the night are the bitches Willie Lay. The diamond has the A move over, L-I. You know, the bitches, B-H-Z-W-I-L-Y, Willie Lay. And the breaking in pieces in the residue is, and made of who? Share. Made of who share. You got to break that up and share it with everybody. And, you know, the one that was different, it was the way shine. He had that shine. The way shine you. Brighter than the rest of them. Different. And from all the beasts. And from all the beasts is men call the high with two. The way shine you, men call high with two. And the considering, you know, the mystical. That's I read that line a couple movies ago. And watched I until the thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated. As Hayes, who, you know, H-I-W, the hue, the shade, the Hayes Hewitt added a cursum. And Remy is branches, you know, were put in place, the branches to the Remy. And so this this watch, you know, if you hesitate, you know, you sit back and watch before acting. Hesitate, you know, is to take action. And who it added, and then, you know, A-D, and then D-D, did, and then occurs the Ramy, the branches to, and then what, you know, W-O-T, and then T-I, tie, something connected, what tie, and then Q, and come back and read this, the fit, what fit if, and what tie fit if it fits in, you know, in the branches, and then to make them, I-U-M, to make them in day, you know, the yum is the day. And so yum isn't actually the day. If you're working with a calendar, if you're working with time, then, you know, the work connected from is what the I-U-M means, the work connected from. So if you work with calendar, your work is connected from, you're talking about days, not necessarily days, but it could be time to month, that period, you know, the work's connected from. So this final N, you know, when it's the end of a word, it reads as an M, but when you're still in that word, it reads as an N. And so being that you're coming back on the bottom, you know, when you're reading the first time, you're coming back and reading this again. So it's not the final N, so it pronounces an N. But when you're coming back and read it again, you're following the other directional markings. And so it just reads final, so it's an M then. And it's, you know, the yum, omit, to within, the day within. And ministered to him is a ism mission. You know, ism, I-S-M, is a belief. Ism mission, the belief mission. That's where your word missionary come from. And people say, but all the numbers add up. But that's because they make them all up as they go along. You know, this word comes up one time. One time, one of one. One of one. One of one in 10,000. Now it won't have a number. One of one, 10,000. They made all these words up. It's the only time they come up. You know, words of the pompous. This is the word I was investigating here. Many words come up with this M, multiple M's and L's. And they'll say it's words or speaking. The milli you reverb it to. The millia you reverb it to. Reverb. Not pompous, but to reverb, to reword. But you can see how they're trying to force this thousands up here. And 1,000 a million from milla. And watched I till was slain beast thee and destroyed its body. Is additive tilt high what of who bid gigs 'em. You know, the dot and the G is giving it 2 G's, gigs. And gigs is a time and place. And so its body, you know, is when that planet sits at that time and place. And given to the burning flame is who hibit lifted asses. And so who hibit isn't given. You know, same place inhibit comes from, in hold. You know, to inhibit somebody, you hold it, not let them have it. But without the in, it's just to hold. Time and place, me who hibit, me who hold. And then come back and read these first 5 again. Inhibit who they inlifted, the date assess. And yet we're prolong their lives are the ones that work in the hygiene, HYJIN, the hygiene gym. And so we're prolonged there for a season of time. You can tell it's talking about the calendar here. And that's the end of this word here. This is JMY, Jimmy the day. And Jimmy Hibbett. And then come back and read this again. They intel, and then UNLE, unal. Unal is unal is a single. You know, the day, the whole, they intel, the one, the single, the one on, and then adds, ADZ, adds them in, and then 2 M's, adds them in from modem. And modem will be the word they use on the first page of the Bible when it says the seasons in the modem. And so for every season you have a different mode. And your peoples is your homies, OMMY, the homie. And language is a lesson, yeah. And the one that which shall not be destroyed is delectable. And this table, that's the word they'll give for the world, a table. And so as I'm making this movie, I could see a need. I need to go and start a basic and show what I've learned about all these little extra marks. And I don't use their name of it, and I really haven't studied what they had to say about it because I know they can't read this. They don't know what these marks. And so a lot of these marks, I just, by studying the patterns, I figured out what they meant. And then a lot of them are the same marks you'll see in music. And so I went to look at the music, and sure enough, they mean the same thing that I figured out. And so I don't use a name for them because I didn't want to put the impression that, you know, that name has a meaning, because I know that they've got it all confused the way they try to read the Hebrew. And I've been doing this for several years now, and I haven't been challenged yet. And there's nobody says that they can read the Hebrew, because they would totally embarrass themselves, because they can't. If you've been watching my movies, you see how they changed all the meanings of the words here to try to force these writings over this. So I believe I'm going to do a movie, and I'm going to start on the basics and tell what I've learned about the letters and about all these markings. And it'd be a good place to start if you're new. And I'll show everything I know about the markings in the Hebrew and in the Greek that also has the markings that change reading directions. But the book is about the shame you know, the names you cover in ran the Senate, SANAT, the Senate, ETATE. The shame you cover in ran Senate. The names you cover in run the Senate. And the Senate is the rulers, you know, all the ruling skies.
Don't forget. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.